here with my brother Cliff Albright. Black Voters Matter. What's going on, brother?
Hey, I'm doing all right. What's going on with you?
Man, I'm good. I'm seeing you, and I'm happy because you are on the ground. Black Voters Matter has been on the ground, remains on the ground, and stays in the fight. This year's theme, made for this moment, power, progress, and policy. Real quick, what's the power move in this moment?
Well, before I talk about the power move, let me just say to you, you a bad sister. And so I just want to thank you for doing what you do up in the belly of the beast.
Thank you.
Every day. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I appreciate it.
There's a lot of power moves that we got to make. Of course,
Okay.
we're Black Voters Matter, so I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the voting power moves
That's the power
that we got to
move.
make. Right now, the Voting Rights Act itself is under attack.
Right.
The reason it's under attack, though, which we got to always be clear about, the reason why we're seeing whether it's the redistricting taking place and the gerrymandering taking place in places like Texas and now Missouri, or whether it's the Supreme Court that's about to try to basically finally overrule the Voting Rights Act, the reason all this is happening is because of our power, right? Because they know that we got power. That's why they cheat. You don't cheat when you're losing.
Come on.
Right? You don't cheat when you got all the high spades in your hand. You cheat when you ain't got no books. That's when you start reneging, right? So that's what they're doing right now.
There.
So we got to be clear, the reason they're doing that is because they see our power.
Yeah.
So what can we do to counter some of this? Policy, right? So one, we got to fight to hold on to what's left of the Voting Rights Act. I know that's a tough battle, right?
Man.
But I'm going to keep fighting. I got arrested, as you know, back in 2021. I got arrested
You've been
5
several
times.
I'm about to say,
That's right.
They keeping you covered, but you
That's
free
right.
today.
That's right. Including an overnight stay in D.C. Central Lockup. So, and that was battling for the Voting Rights Act. So I'm going to keep that fight up, but I'm not naive. But part of that fight means we got to show up at the Supreme Court on October 15th when they have the hearings about this Louisiana case, the Calais case, which is the case that could lead to the final death of the Voting Rights Act. But we're going to fight. So that's one thing. Second, we got to continue to keep the word up and raising awareness around the pending legislation that we have, both the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, the Freedom to Vote Act, and I'd be really remiss sitting here in D.C. if I don't also mention D.C. statehood.
Come on.
Because we wouldn't be dealing with this foolishness right now with the National Guard in D.C. if D.C. had statehood, right? So we got to keep fighting for that legislation. That's policy. But the other policy that I'm going to talk about, again, just keeping it real, we got to have a plan B for if the Voting Rights Act goes away.
What is the plan?
We got to have a plan B. How else do we deal with, especially just dealing with this gerrymandering thing?
Yep.
How else do we get representation without the protections of the Voting Rights Act? So when I think about that, I go back like 30 years when I first heard about a sister named Lonnie Guinier.
Come on.
You probably remember, right?
Yes.
1993,
Yes.
Lonnie Guinier gets nominated to be like high up in the Department of Justice by Bill Clinton. A few days later, he withdraws the nomination. And what does he say when he withdraws her nomination? She's got these beliefs that are dangerous. So I said, well, goddamn, if they think she's dangerous, I need to get down with whatever she's talking about, right?
Come on.
She was talking about proportional representation, right? Which is the notion that instead of having these winner-take-alls, you get to 50% and anything else is no good or whatever, that you can actually do proportional representation based on the votes that come in.
Right.
Especially when you're talking about multi-member districts, right? This was her structural solution, because 30 years ago, she already knew the writing was on the wall, that the Voting Rights Act was in danger.
Absolutely.
And so this is a structural solution that is not defined by race in the same way as like some of our VRA remedies are, but can still get us to the same results, which is better representation for black folks. It's not a panacea,
Right.
because it's got to be done the right way. You can do it the right way and you can do it the wrong way.
Right.
You can do it in a way that's race neutral, right? Or you can do it in a way that's intentionally focused on getting racial equity. Otherwise, what do you find? Oh, you did a good job of making sure that you got proportional by party, and Democrats are okay, but black folks ain't got no representation.
That part.
So we got to be
That part.
intentional with any of these. I don't care if it's proportional representation, ranked choice voting, campaign finance reform, any structural thing, we got to at least have some kind of a race equity lens to it, or else we're going to find ourselves right back where we started from. But that's a policy, that's a structural policy that we need to start having discussions around, because even as I'm talking about this with you, somebody in your listening audience is saying what? I ain't never heard of that.
Ain't never heard of it.
I don't know what he's talking about.
But that's why we have to come together for these conversations, and why CBC conference is so important.
That's right.
In particular in this year. Really quickly before we go, you gave us power, you gave us policy. If we are made for this moment, what is the progress that you know that we can have in this moment?
Right. The progress we can have is that on all the issues that we care about, we can get progress, we can get tangible results, but we can't do it if we don't have a government that reflects the people. I always say, you can't have a people's agenda if you don't have a government that reflects the people, right? And so, regardless of, you may not be proportional representation, Voting Rights Act, the notion of democracy, which we ain't never really had, that may not be sexy to you. That may not be the thing that you want to talk about.
Make it sexy, Cliff. Make it sexy, Cliff. Make it sexy.
At the kitchen table, right? But I promise you, whatever issue you are passionate about, you can't get to it if we don't have a government that reflects us. If we don't have a voice in who's making the rules. Because that's the situation we're in right now. We got some nut up in the White House who don't give a damn about black folk, and they are making the rules. And so we got to have some folks who are going to be just as unapologetic about being for us as these fools are about being anti-us. But we got to have representation to make that happen. So if we want to deal with the high cost of housing right now, you got to have representation. If you want to deal with safety for your children in your community or in your schools, you got to have representation. If you want to have a living wage in your community, or just to not see 300,000 black women going unemployed,
damn sure
then you got to have some representation. You tell me whatever your issue is, and the only way for us to get there is if we have representation. I shouldn't say it exactly like that, because the other thing we need in addition to representation is we got the organizing power to make some stuff happen. Because as I always say, folks in Selma ain't vote for the Voting Rights Act. They made it happen, but they ain't vote for it. They organized for it. They marched for it. They fought for it, and yes, some of them bled for it, right? And so we got to have that combination of recognizing that representation and electoral organizing is a critical tool in the toolbox, but it's also got to be merged with the stuff we got to do in the streets.
I love it. If
we do
not
that,
in your mouth,
then we win.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it, Cliff. I love when you always come on and spit truth and talk truth to power. Where can people go if they want to get organized, if they want to get in the fight? Because I always say, this fight ain't free.
That's right.
Where can people go to find out more information, to join with their time or their dollars?
That's right.
Where?
Find us on social media, all the platforms, for as long as they exist, all the platforms. Black Voters MTR, Black Voters MTR, our website, blackvotersmatterfund.org, and get involved. Because like you said, everybody's got a role to play. Your role might be that you listen to this and then you forward it to 5 of your friends. It might be that you forward some other information that you see on our website. It might be that you're the voice at the microphone in your local community. You ain't got to speak to 1,000 people. Maybe it's just the 10 people on your block. But everybody's got to, maybe you're the person that cooks the food for the mass meeting. Maybe you're the artist that does the artwork for whatever it is that we're doing. Everybody's got a role to play. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you got a role to play.
Black voters matter, baby. Black voters matter. Cliff Albright, thank you so much, brother.
Thank
Always
you.
welcome down here.
Oh.
You are my brother in the struggle. All right, thank y'all, everybody. Stay tuned for more.